Often during my 20s, I would spend too long in bed planning about what I need to do. And the hope is that the better you plan, the better your day becomes. But that's not actually what was happening. It would get to a point where I would feel sick in my gut. I would feel lethargic. And what ended up happening was a far less productive day than if I had just gotten up. If you've ever felt something like this, I have a way to bring clarity. Something that I wish I knew back then. Now, in the past, my focus and awareness would be in logic, but that's not the whole picture. Let me illustrate what I'm talking. So here we have my world, and then we have the external world, everything that I can interact with. So from my perspective at the time, I would use the power of logic. And the hope was that if I keep feeding into this logic over and over again, eventually I would have a perfect output. So this would result in some kind of action. This action wasn't actually what I was seeking. What I really wanted was change. So represent change as a triangle. So I wanted to change from the moment, time 0, and I wanted to change that to time 1. And the hope was if I just run enough of these logical loops, logical simulations, A to B, C to D, doesn't really matter, that eventually one trajectory of actions, one plan of action would change from T0 to T1. Now here is what was not available to me at the time. There was a large part of my inner world that wasn't actually logic. That was much more, you could say, primitive. And that's the world of emotion. I was feeling fear. That fear was congealing and forming into worry, as well as other things. I was feeling inferior. That inferiority was getting in the way, was creating a blocker to my own action. This is the kicker. Even if my strategy would have worked, even if you can, or I was able to, have the perfect logical loop that creates the perfect series of events, and then I execute them and act from, where I am now and change to the place that I want to be in the future, I still wouldn't have been able to do it because my own feelings of inferiority would have got in the way. You could call it self-sabotage. Another layer that I didn't know at the time. This logical loop wasn't happening in a void. Right? I'm not an AI, I'm not just running an algorithm. You can gain an extra level of clarity if you say, not only do calories get burnt when you use your mind, but your emotions fuel your mind. Interesting. So if we take this worldview now, if these are fueled by emotion, I'm not aware of, by the way, and those emotions are fear, those emotions are worry or anguish. Think about what kind of logical loops are being fueled. Because this emotion is only going to latch on to a particular type of thought. If I'm worried, am I going to think about, isn't it amazing how life grows? Like the way it can adapt, right? Like an inquisitive loop. Do you think that worry is going to naturally get pulled towards an inquisitive loop? Not for me. Perhaps not for you either. Is worry, however, going to get pulled towards over-planning, overthinking, double, triple, quadruple checking something to making sure that it's correct? For me, that's a lot more like the things I was thinking about when I felt worry, but I didn't even know I was worried. So what's the solution? First of all, self-awareness. Had I have known that there were these forces within me, at least I would have been able to start facing the problem. Second thing, multiple perspectives. So I draw perspectives like this, and the way we visualize it can be like this, like a cone of view. For example, I see the world through a spiritual lens. I see the world through a scientific lens. Interesting. That's not the only perspective. In fact, I would argue that the most important perspective, at least at the start, are internal perspectives. Give you different angles of what it means to be yourself. Your ability to change your perspective as a function or as a skill is one of the most important skills you can have at the start. So step 1, self-awareness. The great thing is everyone has self-awareness. You just need to cultivate it. It's not something you need to get from the outside. The second thing is perspectives. Before I was saying this is not necessarily true for the world, and it doesn't need to be true for the world. All that it needs to do is be able to highlight yourself in different ways. And the bigger the difference between these perspectives, the potential to illuminate your world increases. Right? If you have, oh, I'm happy and I'm joyful, okay, I'm good and I'm bad. I'm dangerous and I'm safe. Oh, hey chap, are you good or you bad? Right, you good, you bad? 99% of people are going to take this. And if you're in a depressive mood, right, remember about emotion, which loops do you want? You'll probably take this one. But most of the time, am I safe or am I dangerous? Well, if you're like, in combative mood, you're about to do a boxing fight, well, I'll take dangerous. Most of you, most of the time, will take safe. Just how my own inferiority got in the way of action, your own emotions, your own values, your own ego will get in the way of different perspectives. So these are kind of like higher level things. You need to train yourself to be uncomfortable with seeing yourself in different lights. But once you've done that, you unlock these different perspectives. Your ability to change between perspectives also increases. Your ability to understand yourself increases. After all that, it doesn't all need to happen at once, but after all that, I'm able now, I'm able to be in bed and notice, I'm spending time in bed. I'm overthinking. If I'm overthinking, I probably feel worried. I can reverse engineer how I feel, even if in the moment I don't have access to how I feel. So even if my self-awareness is lacking, even if I'm not able to actually label how I'm feeling, which would be ideal, I'm still able, through pattern recognition and through experience, to understand how I'm feeling and therefore how to act. Now it's clear to me how I need to act because I have the context, I have the awareness, I have the systems, I have the skills. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Cheers.